Hello and welcome to this sped up version of the usage of this 5x7 piece of Claybord Smooth. It's a hardboard panel with a soft clay surface, and it really makes it a really fantastic surface to stamp on. Stamping out the Seaside Cove Small here, and I'll be stamping out the lighthouse and some clouds based around that Seaside Cove. I'm just using some standard dye-based inks, but you can pretty much use any type of ink you want on this surface. It's absorbent, and it will accept just about any other types of media that you want to use on here. I would say the surface is something akin to, as far as something that we have experienced, using something like a semi-gloss cardstock. It's a little bit more absorbent than that, though, because it is that clay. So by clay, I don't mean like a hard tile, like a kitchen tile or something like that. It's more of the clay surface, like a scratch board or something of that sort. Okay, so I've added some tones around there, and I've kind of defined our lighting. I'm adding a little bit of blue tone to this to make the grayscale color scheme a little bit richer. It adds some temperature to it. Okay, so scratch knives or scraper tools. I'm going in, and like scratchboard, I'm going back in here and defining some of the lighting in a much more exact way with these tools. So I'm scratching back through some of that black ink and blue ink that's been applied to the surface. And you can do it very gently, you can do it much more expressionistically, where it's like a, I don't know, expressionism, or like a woodblock print or something like that. Right here, I'm using some fine grade sandpaper just to kind of, soften up some areas around those clouds. And here I'm giving a little bit of textural kind of movement into those clouds, like little wisps of air or wind. Adding some highlights on some reeds down there. And that's what's really fun about this board. You can do these subtractive types of marks. A lot of people don't, it's not scratchboard or something like that, but the ability to do that is really fantastic for scenic stamping. Like right here in the rocks, I'm really kind of defining some lighting hitting those rocks. Normally I'd do an additive type of process with like a white paint pen or something like that, but this you can do it in kind of these little scratches, so you can add a lot of gesture to your piece. Okay, adding some kind of more specific areas of shadows with a colored pencil here, and the board takes the colored pencils just fine. Alcohol pens, going back in here with a really light blue alcohol pen, and I add some little bit of darker tinge to it, but I start off with the lighter ones just to see if I like it or not. Slightly darker pen, and here's kind of a medium tone blue. Yeah, it was a little bit too dark, so I'm just blending it out here with one of those lighter ones again. And a darker blue colored pencil for some deeper shadows. And going back in with a little bit of a kind of a warm, very light beige colored pencil, just to add a little bit of a temperature change to the scene. Where I added in the white areas, you can see a little bit of a warmer tinge to it, so we're playing around with temperature here a little bit in a very subtle way. White pigment ink to make our lighthouse lamp glow. And then here I'm adding some kind of a silverish pigment ink around the edges of this board to finish off the sides. It's just bare wood otherwise, but here you can get this kind of this silver edge on it, and I thought that matched very well with the silvery looking color scheme of the piece. And the final touches on this type of board, something that I would really recommend people do, is to spray seal it. And if you give it a really thick spray, not something I do on paper, but you can do on these boards, it gives it a really thick coat, and it really seals it off and finishes the surface off really beautifully. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.